Hello everybody, welcome back to Law Hero. My name is Jen. If you haven't been here before, I basically look at exam technique, prep, exam notes, all that kind of thing to do with the FE1, which is the first examination of the Law Society of Ireland, which is followed by the FE2 and the FE3. They are done on the professional practice courses 1 and 2 of the Law Society of Ireland. I'll also be doing stuff on those later on in the year. Then I also look at the QLTT, which is the Qualified Lawyer Transfer Test. If you're already a lawyer in your own jurisdiction, you can come to Ireland and do a transfer test. And the other area I look at is the barrister entrance exam. Aside from all of that, I look at CVs and cover letters, and I make strategies to get trainees into traineeships, interns into internships, and so forth. Why you fail law exams. This is quite frankly any law exam. I've touched on this in many videos before. You can just go on my YouTube channel and look at my playlists, but this is just something I love to discuss. Dropped with me just before the FE1s, and I believe that is why I won the prizes on the FE1s. It wasn't because I was special, it was because this mindset trick I'm going to give you now is what clicked with me. Alright, the first reason, bar anything else I'm ever going to tell you, and I say this to a lot of the people who ring me up in despair when they failed, is too many inputs. So what do I mean by that? Well, the human brain, we can't handle too much information. Like, you see that even with this COVID-19 thing. People are like, when's the lockdown over? I heard this date, I heard that date, and it just makes us all very anxious. Human brain loves certainty. So much so that our human brain can trick us into self-fulfilling prophecies, which means that the brain is so desperate to be right, sometimes it'll put you in that exact situation you don't want, just because it'll be like, told you so. Told you we had too much information and now we're lost. I know that life is short, and that is why I provide notes on my website. They're cheap, they're concise. If I had to do the exam tomorrow, I would just get those notes. I'm not going to bang on about my notes in particular. I'm just going to say to you, full stop. You need to have short amounts of information to hand when you need them. In real life, you're going to have surface knowledge, and then you're going to go off and research whichever legal problem you have. You're going to have to answer some questions off the cuff for a client. So accurate and short surface knowledge. When a client asks me, what kind of company should I set up? I say a limited company because it has the most flexibility. Do you see the difference? And it's this, I mean, the FE1 is about quickly picking out the issue and solving it without going into too much detail. You need enough detail to justify what you're saying, but I feel people are just getting weighed down in this books and case law. It is not an academic exam. It's an exam where you need to be less wrong than the people sitting beside you so that you don't fail. It's not a college exam. And this is the second one, is timing. It is so different to a college exam because you're being asked more questions in the same amount of time. So that's why timing is very important. And there's a reason for that. It's very comfortable to write on topics you know. We all have fallen into that trap. And that is the reason why in the exam there is time limit. And there is a lot of questions to be asked in that time, because you're being tested for your discipline to see, can you maintain structure to how you answer questions and not go off in a tangent because you have 5 questions to answer. As I said, it's not from lack of hard work that people fail. You'll be so surprised the amount of people who get on to me and I'm like, girl or boy, you've done so much work. You've actually done too much work and it just wasn't smart work. There's a difference between hard work and smart work. You don't want to be a busy fool because you actually won't be rewarded for it. you'd actually be sometimes better off doing nothing than overwhelming yourself, because at least then your brain is a clean slate and it might make a better decision. But anyway, third one is planning. I think I've kind of labored this point a lot, but if your inputs, and I mean the amount of information, is small, how you plan that information is going to be much, much easier and much, much more manageable. You need to literally, in your head, go to a certain box and be like, okay, this is my negligence box. This is my defective products box. And that is literally what it means to be a solicitor. You need to be able to cover so many different areas in your head, but you don't need to be an expert in any one. You become an expert as a practitioner after a few years of practicing in the same area. Right now, you need to be able to cover a broad, and I think I've said this like a million times in my YouTube videos, a broad spectrum of areas at a surface level. The examiner is your client. Some people forget that somebody somewhere is going to correct this exam. So have a little bit of pride in your work. Don't word vomit. I always imagine that the person is there in front of me and they're just like, did you really write that? Do you really think that? Is that really relevant? They're a curious person, like, you know, they're asking you questions. Are you sure that that's the right answer? It's like that curious examiner who's like trying to probe you in the right area. You need to have an imaginary one of those, like monkey on your shoulder, being like, you didn't study this, did you? So don't do the question. You might have to come back and repeat it. They know if you haven't done it. They want you to pass. But if you haven't a monkeys, you're just not going to pass the question anyway. So, you know, you don't know the basics. Okay, I have to relax because I am somebody who loves the abstract and I'm not so great with basic stuff. So I can't really get angry at other people for this. However, I am always shocked that people don't know the difference between offer, acceptance, invitation to treat, tenders, and auctions. They are the basics of contract law, and you would be hard pressed to find somebody who knows them, like can describe each one of those in one sentence. I challenge you to try and do that. Maybe do it in the comments for your homework. I love giving out homework. You learned everything. Some people are pretty good rote learners. Like, some people can pick up songs in a jiffy. Some people can pick up poems and things in a jiffy. If you rote learn and write verbatim what you've rote learned, that's going to be a straight fail, because they're going to think you don't know the law. Knowing the law means knowing how to apply it. It doesn't mean you know the law. Like, I could go home and teach my sister, who's a pharmacist, I could go, here, learn off this page and a half and sing it back to me, and because she has such a great brain, she'll probably be able to do that. So technically she knows the law, but for the purpose of an exam, she's no help to a client. And finally, sometimes I get way too passionate. The final point is you neglected your housekeeping, and I've actually seen this in some exam reports. Some people forgot to put their exam number on the front of their books. They forgot to highlight the relevant sections, like get a highlighter and go, okay, section 4 of the act. They forgot to, and I would say highlight in a different color to case law, red line, underline, whatever. That really draws the examiner's attention to the right answer. They didn't number the questions correctly, and also they didn't answer 5 questions. So yeah, that is it in a nutshell. That is why people fail law exams, and it's probably not what you thought it was. It is more a tactical, practical thing. And yeah, if you have any questions, just email me info@lawhero.eu, and also on Instagram @lawheroIRL, and I will leave you in peace. Bye bye.